There's no pretension in Dying Light, and I think that's why I like it as much as I do. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of gaming in the 80s and 90s. It even has a cheesy 80s storyline. World agencies send American hero man to parachute into area of conflict to stop bad guy. Bad guy is bad because he likes evil. And then you proceed to chop up hundreds or maybe even thousands of zombies on your way to bad guy's lair. If you're looking for some deep narrative about life or relationships or the universe, you're definitely not going to find it here. Dying Light is about jump-kicking zombies, shooting zombies, bashing zombies in the face with blunt objects, chopping zombies to bits with sharp objects, burning zombies with Molotov cocktails, throwing ninja stars, making your own Frankenstein superweapons and IEDs, and of course, parkour in a huge open world. If you like those things and don't expect much else, you're probably going to enjoy Dying Light. Did I mention zombies? Yes, Dying Light's roots are showing, but is that such a horrible thing? It has the zombies are everywhere and I have to either find or make my own weapons kind of attitude of Dead Island. It has parkour movement systems similar to Mirror's Edge. Later in the game, it has an amazingly addictive grappling hook just like Just Cause and the Tenchu series. It has the same shooting mechanics as almost every first-person shooter since 2005, and you can play it cooperatively. With it borrowing so much from other games, does it raise the bar at all for video games? I'm gonna say yes. The melee combat is outstanding, and it uses its physics engine very well. Kicks and bashes have some real weight to them, while hacking and slashing sends bodies in realistic directions. I think first-person fantasy games are going to have to take a look at Dying Light to see how they can improve on their combat. And all first-person games from here on out that don't have at least a rudimentary climbing system are going to feel incredibly dated after this. While the story is puddle deep, it still manages to have a few touching moments, but sadly, those aren't found within the main story. Dying Light has a slathering of side missions that I found myself more attached to, both gameplay and story-wise. City about to be eradicated in 48 hours? I didn't care. I had to find that little girl's insulin somewhere in the city. Emperor Evil McBadguy had a colleague captured? Again, didn't care. I needed to save a father who was trapped with his son in a rooftop apartment with no supplies. In those tiny moments, I felt more like a hero than some superhero games. I'm looking at you, Second Son. The game is easy on the eyes if your machine can run it, and thankfully there's plenty of PC options to tinker with. The burned out city is impressive, and definitely has its own personality, so a big thumbs up for environmental design. Seeing fields of hungry zombies standing in your way can be intimidating, but the game is most impressive at night or in completely dark areas. Solo encounters with zombies might not be that scary during the day, but with the lights out, it changes everything. Also, when the sun goes down, the truly vicious zombies come out to hunt. They run faster, climb quicker, hit harder, and they take a much bigger beating before dying. Even when you reach higher levels and craft broadswords with flamethrowers and stun gun attachments, the night zombies are still so brutal you won't want to stand and fight them toe-to-toe. Running and hiding is still the best option, and it makes for some amazing high-speed parkour chases. So, cool combat, nice graphics, parkour gameplay, ignorable story, what is wrong with Dying Light? Unfortunately, a lot. Climbing is great, except when it's not. There are a few very frustrating jumps and grabs that don't quite have all the kinks worked out. Going up is easy, getting back down, not so much. Your best bet is to look for a car to land on, or a pile of garbage to break your fall, or a zip line to scoot down. If none of those options are present, good luck. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's frustrating. Dying Light also glitched out on me about 5 times in my 30 hours spent with the game, completely removing the ability to interact with objects, forcing me to reboot. The frame rate is also a point of contention. At times I'd experience 120 frames per second, and then I'd see it drop to the 20s. Quite often I'd have a total frame rate freeze, but the gameplay would continue when zombies would grab my shoulders and try to bite my neck, forcing me to push them off. On average, I'd get about 45 frames a second with anti-aliasing turned off and draw distance at 50%. I've experienced all this after the developer's first patch. Considering how quickly they've patched the game, I'm slightly hopeful that they'll continue to work on the game and refine it. The voice acting is mostly horrible. There are a few good actors in the mix, surprisingly the kids do a fine job, but the hero characters seem like they yell their lines instead of delivering them. But I don't hold bad voice acting much against this game. Again, the lack of pretension is charming. But there's a few player powers that are a bit too powerful. The head stomp is massively overpowered, which is funny because Dead Island has the same problem. What's curious about the head stomp is you don't need to knock the zombies down to use it. You can simply stand on a platform higher than the zombies, like a car hood, and just spam away, clearing away fields of zombies during the day with little or no effort and zero wear and tear on your weapons. Super sledgehammers are nothing compared to your foot. There's also a camouflage kill ability that will make short work of teams of baddies, reducing the threat level of zombie hordes to 0. And the final boss is just annoying. He's not hard, he doesn't have a difficult pattern to remember, he's a quick time event, when I would have loved nothing more than to use my own Mega Claymore to hack him into bits, and then throw him off a tower myself. Dear video game developers everywhere, no one likes boss fights that are quick time events. Despite its problems, I really did have an absolute blast playing Dying Light, and I could definitely see myself playing it again in the future. But with the number and the types of problems it has, I can't really recommend it to everyone at full price. That is, unless the game sees a few more major patches. My advice is to wait a little bit and see if the developer does a few more updates. Or if you're a patient consumer, catch it on sale sometime in the future. This video is made possible through generous fan donations on Patreon.